Sofiana no yen. Just think of being broke in Japan, you have no yen. And that's how you pronounce her last name. She's Dutch. She was born in the Dutch West Indies island of Curacao. Came to the United States when she was 5 and went to school in Lafayette area schools because her mother, Jean Cateau Noyen, was a brilliant teacher who spoke 6 languages and was by all intents and purposes, or for all intents and purposes, a genius. So she would use a foreign language, her mother, to teach a foreign language. And gradually, by the time she became 14, her mother got a job at my high school in Crowley, St. Michael's High School, which later consolidated with St. Francis from Iota and St. Joseph from Rennes to become Notre Dame. And her mother never made it to Notre Dame, but she did make the last 3 years, or 1,000 days, of St. Michael's. And that's why I spent every day with Sofiana Noyen and her identical twin sister, Christina Noyen, now known as Chris. And we were good friends then and had a crush on each other then. But to be frank, I was intimidated because she was smarter than me. She was a faster sprinter. She's an all-state sprinter for Lafayette High School. Took them to the state finals. And then she became a Peace Corps volunteer in Fiji for 2 years and met with Margaret Mead, the internationally famous anthropologist. And after she met with Miss Mead, she decided she wanted to go back to graduate school, and she did that at the Belle of Amherst, Emily Dickinson's school, Amherst, just west of Boston, Massachusetts. And she spent 5 years there, first earning her master's in exercise science and then working on her PhD. And she came back to Lafayette after that 5 years and began teaching in the Lafayette Parish schools. And after about 7, 8 years, she got tired of hassling by the parents, not the students. She loved the students, she said. But she got tired of hassling with the parents of the students. And so she switched from teaching to nursing. It only took her 18 more months because of her previous academic work, which she was 4.0. So she then finished nursing at USL in only 18 months to be a BSRN. And she went to work at Lafayette General, and she stayed at Lafayette General for 30 years. And I met her during the last 3 years. She just retired in May of 2020. We're now both retired. I'm more semi-retired, but I'm going to take time off. And I do a gig economy set of jobs where I write speeches for certain gentlemen and ladies who are in public office without letting you know. I'm a ghost writer because they wish to think that they want the public to think they wrote the speech. So I do that for certain public officials. I write brochures. I do storytelling in schools. I'm approved by all area parishes, including Lafayette, to tell stories to any age child. Full background check has been done because as a male, they suspect you immediately, and so they do a full background, but I've been approved. So I do storytelling at fairs and festivals, and I do brochure writing, and I'm a Cajun dancer who learned all of what he knows from Jim Dugas, who's the best Cajun dancer, I think, in Louisiana. He certainly holds the record for the most women danced with who are of different kinds. Most guys just dance with the pretty women. Jim dances with everybody. If they can stand up and dance, and sometimes in a wheelchair, he'll dance with you. And he follows my grandmother's old rule of dance with every woman at the dance once before you dance with one woman twice. And Jim pretty much follows that rule. And therefore, he's danced with a wider variety and a greater number of ladies and men, because I asked him to dance. Every now and then he'll dance with me. But we do that as a joke only, and he's a wonderful guy, and I love Jim. And I thank him for being here and for being at my wedding and sharing this joyous moment with me. And I invite anyone who's listening to this and who watches this that he may publish to Facebook or other platforms to join me, Joe Paris. Think of a cup of coffee. It's also called a cup of Joe. Think of the city you're in when you are seeing the Eiffel Tower. That's Paris. My name is Joe Paris. My symbol on Facebook is a red heart. I'm the only one of 6 Joe Parises on Facebook who has a red heart as a symbol. Come friend me. Tell me you know me through Jim Dugas, and I will immediately add you as a friend. And you can follow my walks. I take daily walks through my neighborhoods in many parishes. I go to many parishes and walk through neighborhoods just as a way of exercising. I've lost 25 pounds since Christmas, and I'm very proud of that because I had 2 stents put in my heart. And my cardiologist, Dr. John Mickey, said, please walk or do some exercise every day. And I'm averaging 5 miles a day, and I've already walked my 6. I walked 6 today at the horse farm. and walked around there until I got 6 miles, and attended the farmer's market, which was also there this morning, run by Mark Hernandez. So the point is I've been exercising, eating better, and the 2 stents I have in my heart, now I don't have to take but half the medicine I started with because the exercise has done such good things for my body. So I want to encourage everyone to exercise regularly and to go dancing, which improves your health. So I want to thank Jim Dugas for filming me today and sharing my joy of my wedding tomorrow, Sunday noon in Ridge, Louisiana. It's a small wedding. But we'll have something in November on Thanksgiving Saturday for everyone to attend. So we'll get back to you at that time. Thank you and love one another. See you next time.
They're heirloom, I call them. It's the angel begonia.
Yeah?
And the more sun they get, the redder they get. Like, see, these are more in the sun. These were, it got a little bit more shade. See, that one really, see how on that same plant, that one's dark red, that one's pink.
Yeah. That's a nice watering bucket. Where'd you get that?
Oh, that's Jesse's. Oops, sorry. And that's Japanese plum.
What's sunflower?
Yeah, he's gonna prop it up.
Yeah, if he can do that for me, because she couldn't have time. Todd, that is the one I want. That post that you did in front of the dirt pile, that's the one I want.
Wait. Like this? All right, I'm gonna get the other.
Very nice.
Oh, look, there's a...
Todd, you need to run your extension cord and all that to the radio.
All right.
Because this is just a cake table and that's just a present table. I don't want people.
Gifts and
Yeah.
gifts
And cake table.
cake table. Okay, because we gotta go finish the burlap, and then I need to be with the bride, getting her ready.
Okay.
Is she here?
Yeah,
Yeah,
she's
she's
somewhere.
in the toy.
Okay.
Follow the girls. Good job. Good job. That looks good. Keep going, Sadie. Very good.
Walk faster, Sadie. It's hot. Go fast, fast, fast.
Sprinkling flowers while you're doing this. Okay.
We used to do trophies.
Sprinkle, sprinkle.
Y'all do trophies anymore?
Okay, and then when we get here, okay, then you're gonna be done sprinkling the flowers, and you're gonna come around and go sit with your mom. Okay. You got it?
Yeah.
Say fun. You get to sprinkle pretty flowers.
Where's the cat? Cody, stop.
The cat's not allowed over here.
What are you doing? I was wrapping it. Okay. You gonna cut it?
Go. Oh, yeah.
Two handsome guys. Hey, smile.
Children of the Corn.
Okay. Okay.
Are we being interviewed?
Is it video or picture?
This is video.
Oh, I know. I was like, I don't know what he's
Any
doing.
nice words for the bride and groom?
Any
my
nice words for the
goodness.
bride and groom? You first or me first?
You first.
Me first.
Are we on?
We're on.
Well, I just want to say that I think that this is a special union. I knew it from the start when I visited Joe during COVID. I was delivering meals, and I knock on the door, and there's this lady standing off to the side, and Joe answers the door, and they weren't wearing masks. They were having unprotected conversation. So I knew this was special. And I said, oh my God, to myself, I said, oh my God, I know this person. Let me see if she recognizes me. She didn't recognize me through our whole conversation until finally I brought up the soy candles, and that it was a lady I taught with science. And she goes, oh, that's my twin. And I said, I was wondering why you didn't recognize me. And where's your husband? I was like, okay, Joe. I'm not sure, but I'm so glad I know now that she has a twin sister, Sofiana, who, when we locked eyes, it was like, oh my God, this woman is in love with my brother. She's not wearing a mask. I knew she was in love with him.
Hey, why are you marrying this man?
Because I'm totally in love with him ever since high school years, didn't realize it. That's why.
Yeah.
He's a good heart. My mom taught him. We know him from way back. We had to go our separate ways and learn life, and then we've come back together. Ground zero.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Anything else you might want to?
Let me think. It's special to me that he knew my mom and my dad. Mainly my mom back in high school. And I know they're up in heaven and they're watching.
Oh. So I get a shot.
Oh my God, it smells
It's all gathering.
There's something similar.
We're having a
Who else wants in?
Oh, it's the shots.
It's a toast, I guess.
I got 4 more available here.
I'll have a shot of this orange,
Oh, and I will share mine.
unfamiliar liqueur.
I want to respond to Todd because actually, just by, I guess, coincidence, I'm not sure, but of their large family, Todd was the first one to welcome me to this family. He was the first one. We sat in his living room, and we were discussing there's lots of ups and downs in families, in every family.
Yeah.
And they were discussing a possible down, and he said, Joe, welcome to the family. And so I especially, and not only that, but they say, I learned in college that you really know who your friends are in college if they help you move. And in college, everybody moves. Phil is nodding at me over here. And you know who your real friends are. And I was in a fraternity that supposedly were my friends. But when I had to move in college, I couldn't count on all the members of the fraternity. I'm not going to name the fraternity. The Milk and Donut Boys, for those of you who know fraternities. But the thing is, when we needed to move, and I had just moved, as my sisters know, especially my 2 sisters are here tonight, Jacqueline and Suzanne Marie. And when I had to move just 3 months ago, they both helped me move and took what they wanted for themselves. And then
We were saving that for you. If you want it back, you can have it.
Those are your wedding presents.
Recycled.
But when I needed to move for the second time in 90 days, who stepped forward and helped me? The Louisiana National Guard. Todd came to this rescue and moved us in 1 morning. He moved us with his truck and his lanyard things that go click, 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 and tying things down.
And
he
we
did
had
it with,
no idea what Joe was doing.
How do we
So-
say cheers in Dutch?
Cheers.
How do we say
Prost.
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 Say that slower.
Prost.
This is how the best way to tell about someone is not the facts, but stories. And as my grandfather used to tease me, "Oh, Joseph, that's an interesting story. Could be true." And he would always say, "Could be true." But anyway, and Papa Bernard, of course, was a great storyteller himself, as my sisters know. But the point I'm trying to make now is, if anyone wishes, and we don't force things, when I tell stories at schools, I don't force any child to tell. But if I go to a school and a child like Alexander wants to tell, he's invited to come up and stand next to me and tell his story. So if anyone has a story they want to tell about Sofiana or anyone else here but me.
No.
Oh no, okay. Then you're welcome to do so. And we'd like that to happen if you have a story that's funny or interesting or insightful or anything. We'll listen to it because it could be true.
Joe and I both have a love for Mercedes-Benzes. And I owned one, a diesel. Jonas owned one. Joe owned one, a diesel. And Joe and I used to cart around in his old 220 diesel Mercedes. And our Uncle Mose Bernard, he used to work on the old Mercedes, the old boxy Mercedes. And so Joe and I would go all over the place in his car. And I remember him taking me one time to Tennessee in this car. And I still have photographs because back then they had like roadside attractions. They'd have like this big elephant in the middle of nowhere, this big giraffe in the middle of nowhere. And that was one of my first adventures, and that's when I fell in love with the smell of the inside of a Mercedes. That's leather smell. And I was unfortunate enough, to be with Joe when we totaled it.
That's right.
And that's my story.
Let me tell you how
I love to tell about it.
I love that Suzanne remembered this because there's a postscript, a PS to the story. Our Uncle Mose Bernard, who was my grandfather's first cousin, so he was our first cousin twice removed.
Right.
And he took that totaled. Now this Mercedes was totaled by the Mercedes Corporation. They said this is a total loss. So talk to your insurance company that you're insured by. It's total. Uncle Mose decided he was going to fix this car so it could be sold. Someone else, he called him over after he did his magic. Uncle Mose was magic, there's no doubt about it, in my mind.
Oh, God bless you,
Oh, I
Joe.
miss Uncle Mose.
Well, no, he's here with you. He's kicking you in the ass. He's pulling his pants up like that.
Uncle Mose always wore a Groucho Marx.
Yeah.
The African Safari, you know that movie?
A pith helmet.
A pith helmet. He always wore a pith helmet, and he was only 5'2".
Yeah.
So he's walking around with his pith helmet on, and he's hiking up his pants. Bring your Mercedes to me, Joe. I'm gonna fix it.
Yeah.
So I bring it up. We did it towed over there.
Yeah.
The insurance company pays me full value for the car. They pay me full value. Then Uncle Mose turns around and sells it at full value. He sells it at full value.
Oh, yeah.
This and Uncle Mose told me that before I bought it. I bought it because I worked for Governor Edwin Edwards when he was running. I was his college and university coordinator.
72.
In 71 and 72.
Oh, 71.
And I've earned so much money, I thought, oh, Jesus, what am I going to do with this? I was a stupid teenager, and I thought, I'm going to buy a Mercedes. And because Uncle Mose said, Joe, you buy that car, and in 10 years it's going to be worth more than it is now, and you will have used it for 10 years for free.
Yeah.
So he said, buy the top quality car you can buy.
Yeah.
So anyway, so Uncle Mose sells it for the more than it cost me to buy. And so I went to graduate school
On that.
with the money from Uncle Moses, and I said, Uncle Moses, what's your fee? He says, Joe, my fee is that you get that degree. You go to school and you get that degree, that's my fee. because Uncle Mose believed he was the first in our family to matriculate, or he didn't graduate, but he at least enrolled at LSU back in the teens. He was born in 1900, and in 1917 he enrolled at Louisiana State University in one of its first years in its new campus. And so he's been a lifelong inspiration to me, and I want to thank Suzanne.
No problem. He's the one that just told me to say that story.
Because he really, I don't know why, I mean, we all love Uncle Mose. When he would come over, he would just captivate us with his stories.
And I'm telling you, it's right by your house where we got in the wreck.
That's right.
Southfield?
That's right.
Richfield?
Well, we were traveling down 342.
Yeah.
Which is Golden Grain.
Which is Golden Grain.
Yeah.
Because the Ridge Road, Golden Grain used to be the Ridge Road. It was
Ridge
never
Road.
Golden Grain.
Right.
And they changed, now they moved Ridge Road to the north.
Yeah.
What are they saying?
Right.
But
yeah.
anyway.
It was right there.
It was the back way. It was the back way.
It was right by Clyde's camp south of Rain.
There's one thing I did want to say, that my grandfather grew up, as Suzanne knows, Suzanne's our family keeper of the photographs and records and genealogist. My grandfather, and he was youngest of 9, and he grew up, I think, less than 10 miles from here. Somewhere around this.
Oh, I'll tell you where he grew up in Bernardville, which was right south of Maurice. You go 399, 396, you take a right, there's Kulekini, and right where the coulee, this coulee, he lived on this side of the coulee.
Oh, wow.
And this is Coulee de Con. Where's
Yes.
it is de Con. Ile-de-Con. But and so that I want to thank Suzanne for that story, because it reminded me of Uncle Mose, who would be here and who came when I first graduated. I was the first in my family to graduate from college. He was the first to matriculate or to enroll, and so he went out of his way to come to my graduation, and he cupped my hand in his.
Oh, yeah.
And he said, "This was my dream, and you fulfilled it for the family." So I was really proud. And now, of course, Jackie, with the first master's degree in the family there, who is now an administrator at Crowley Middle School. So I just wanted to thank Suzanne for that. Anybody else with a story?
I'll say a story.
Oh, yeah.
So, Joe, this is a warning for you.
Yeah, I better sit down here.
I'm kind of the sassier one in the family, and my mom and I are kind of two peas in a pod. So when I was getting into an argument with my mom, Sofiana stepped in and she had some words to tell me, and I said, "You're not my mom. Stay out of this." And she said, "We have the same DNA, so I will stay in this."
I love it.
So I'm just going to tell you, go ask my dad whenever they get to that, because those two have a bond that you cannot break, and you know you grew up with them, but they do get, if one gets attacked, you're attacking both. So if you need, go talk to my dad.
There's one thing that hasn't been said, and these two women, when they went from from St. Michael's, which didn't have many women's sports, to Lafayette High, which had a women's track team, the two of them took Lafayette High, which had never done this before, to state in track. They were state runners up to Faraday just because of these two women, and this is what happened that day. They run the 4x100. She starts the 4-team relay. She finishes the 4-team relay, and 4 coaches rush the judges' box and say, "The same woman ran the first and the fourth legs. This is an ineligible winner." And the judge said, if one woman ran the first and the fourth leg, they deserve the trophy. So,
Did that really happen?
yeah.
Why do we know
It may be
that?
true.
That has to be the answer anytime that's asked.